Hello there, my name is Kalumbunyi Kosa-Kearns, Head of Corporate Communications at Access Bank. I'm your host for this edition of the W Conversations. Over the last few weeks, we've been discussing aspects that affect women at all levels, and this is a program under the W Initiative, Access Bank's banking proposition for women. Now today we have with us Mr. Kambole Chituo. Kambole is the Manager for Consumer Education and Risk under the Insurers Association of Zambia. Now, obviously, looking at the topic that we have today, I'm very excited about it and I hope that you are too. So we're just going to look at the different insurance options have as women, and we also really just want to understand the role of insurance in financial planning. Welcome, Kambole.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your program.
Are you comfortable?
I'm comfortable. I'm good to go.
So your role is Consumer Education and Risk Manager, and I think we couldn't have picked a better choice because obviously this is about sharing information and educating people out there. And I'm just going to start off by asking that you talk a little bit more with regards to what is the role of insurance in financial planning. How are the two connected?
Right, that's a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance is really, you can't separate it from financial planning because it's all about preparing for the future. Life is full of all kinds of risks, really. You can't do anything without some measure of risk. And so it's important for us to, as we plan, to say that if certain misfortunes happen, how can I respond to that effectively? How can I actually deal with it in such a way that I can minimize the financial impact of that loss arising? So even as someone plans financially, even as someone makes a budget, they always have to think about the unfortunate things that could happen and how to be ready to actually deal with those things from a financial perspective. So, for example, if it's in business, one must always be ready and say, there's a chance of some aspect of loss. Could something be stolen? Could an employee be unfaithful?
You're being polite. Could an employee be unfaithful? Could an employee nick my funds or chew into my profits or capital? Yeah.
Exactly. So we have to think about those things and think about how will I respond if some of these threats actually end up occurring. It's not being negative. It's not wishing bad luck on anyone, but one just has to think, what will I do in that rainy day, in that trying time?
So obviously, you've been in insurance a long time. How long have you been working in the insurance sector?
I think over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Yes.
And I would assume that having worked within the insurance sector over the last 10 years, I'm sure you've come across, you've been in situations where you've interacted with different customers that have come about to claim for different in different situations.
Yes.
Could you just give us an example of some of the more obvious situations or instances? What I'm trying to get at is trying to understand the misconceptions around insurance.
Right.
I'll speak from my perspective, where I had a car stolen at my premises at home.
Wow.
And it was funny because in that moment, all I could think about was, how do I replace my car? Fortunately, we were insured, and lucky for us, the car was actually found. Right?
Oh, wonderful.
So when you speak about insurance, there's a lot of misconceptions in terms of the cost attached to it. We always think insurance is expensive. Expensive.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit more information around that? What are the misconceptions and how do you help us navigate those misconceptions?
Right. Well, it's just unfortunate. A lot of people look at insurance as something unnecessary. For motor insurance, a lot of people will get it just for the sake of, I need to get road tax, or I'll come across a roadblock or something. They don't actually think of what if this loss actually occurs. I remember one time when, in my days when I was in broking, the actual selling of insurance from a broker level, someone actually came in, they hadn't insured their car. And unfortunately, they had hit a pedestrian.
Oof.
And here this man came begging and pleading to get some backdated insurance because of the money which was being demanded by the family. But of course, there was nothing we could do for him. So it's unfortunate a lot of people think of these things when they actually occur, which is quite sad. Let's if I can just break down the different types of motor insurance.
Please.
The minimum is called Act Only.
Okay. So
and that
so we know, it's the first time I'm hearing of Act Only.
Oh wow.
I only know of your comprehensive or third party.
Right.
So there's Act Only.
There's Act Only. It's a type of third party cover. What it covers the driver for is if the driver unfortunately injures someone, it will cover for those medical expenses. Or
for the injured party.
For the injured party, right? Or death-related costs if it comes to that. It doesn't cover for property for the third party.
Okay.
Meaning that in such a case, this person would have to remove their own money from their pocket to pay for any property that's damaged.
Okay.
It's the cheapest, but one is very exposed. Then there's full third party, which adds the property aspect to it. So at least there somewhere in the range of 60,000 for property, the insurance company will help you pay if such a claim arises. Again, a lot of people stick to the bare minimum, but imagine, let's say that when the Bugatti was passing through, imagine someone hits into that.
Oh, wow.
None
of us can afford, well, not me, can afford a Bugatti.
None of us can. So again, we encourage people to increase those limits.
Okay, so we will what you're saying is obviously we need to, people like me, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have done exactly what I've done. Yes. Where you say, okay, I got this car at 300,000 kwacha. That's the value of the car.
Yes.
But if I say it's 300,000 kwacha, it means if I want to claim 300,000 kwacha, it means that I have to pay a higher premium, right?
Yes.
And I know people have done this where you just say, you know what, I'm okay with just a 200,000. But it won't get me the car that I want. So I guess it's a lesson to us to declare the full amount, the value of the car, so that you get the real value that is going to get you a car out there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And that's under comprehensive insurance.
Yes.
Where you are covered as well as the third party. So one has to declare the true amount. Otherwise, not only will the payout be less, someone can even be penalized for not declaring the true value.
Okay.
So it will be even less than expected.
Oh, wow.
So it's better just to declare the value as it is. Even the declaration forms, you'll be needed to sign, say that you provided the right information.
Okay.
So that's on motor. Now we need to think about risks in other areas of life. As you mentioned, the household risks. It's quite unfortunate when someone has to see that they've lost everything they've invested in a home. Yet the yearly premium for house cover is less than 1% of the house value. And surely that is worth it.
Yeah.
But the challenge a lot of people have is they'll come and say, why don't I get my money back at the end of it? A lot of people have said that.
People have asked that, yeah.
And it shows they haven't understood the principle of pooling. Let me give an example. Imagine in this office, you all decide to have a social fund. You say that we'll all put 20 kwacha in this box. If anyone here has a misfortune, we'll pick that money and give that person. So none of you is going to say at the end of the day, why don't I get my 20 kwacha back? I haven't had a misfortune. Because you know it has gone to someone it needs. So in any insurance policy, there's pooling. We'll get 1,000 house owners and say, each of you put this small bit, your premium, into the pool. And if 3 people out of the whole group experience a loss, we'll take from that pool to compensate the person who's in need.
See.
So that is why the premiums go in and they only come out to help the person in need.
In need. And in the unfortunate event that you are the one in need, you benefit from that.
You benefit, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So household, I believe also, how does medical work? Are there any plans perhaps to have medical insurance, something that is mandatory? Do you know of any such, or have you had conversations even as an association?
Well, part of the issue is there have been some conversations about making other types of insurance compulsory.
Mm-hmm.
But what we'd really want is for people to appreciate the value of insurance and to be able to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if everything is about compliance, it means you must always have someone with a stick going around to check, does this one have, which is not the best way. So that really is the best. If you have so much for compliance, then you need someone to be going around to check everyone, and that's not the best.
That's not the best, not sustainable. So our viewers out there, Kambole has spoken to looking for insurance. So just so we put it out there, as Access Bank, we have a bank assurance component of the bank. And so to anybody listening out there, the bank actually has made it easier for our customers to benefit from services that Mr. Kambole H2O has been speaking about. Speaking to going to look for insurance, Kambole, what specifically should women look out for when they're choosing an insurance policy?
When it comes to choosing a policy, it's very important to have a clear view of what risks you need to have covered. Because the policy is supposed to speak to those risks that you face. So you might look at issues of, is there a specific situation in terms of the business or the home? Or does one do a lot of travel? One has to think what type of insurance will correspond to the lifestyle or the business. So it has to match the situation one is in. So one might do a lot of agriculture. They would consider agriculture insurance.
Okay.
There are always risks of fire. There are risks of floods, pests, and so on. They'll need to know, do I need weather index, which is just to cover cost of new seed if there's a dry spell? Do I need to cover against pests, in which case I'll need multi-crop peril? So really, someone needs to look at their situation, their personal, their business situation, and approach the insurer and say, what product can match this situation or the risks which I face?
Could you please speak to travel insurance and why should we get travel insurance?
Well, travel insurance is crucial because when you face an emergency during a trip, it could be very difficult to access your funds or to get help when you're very far from home. If I'm moving around Lusaka and then I have a puncture and maybe my spare is not all right, I'll call my friend and he'll come in 5 minutes. If I fall ill, I can quickly call and I'll have 2 uncles and a cousin coming to assist me. But when you've traveled very far, it will be very difficult to get that help on your own. So travel insurance is good for helping you in terms of medical cover when you're on the move. Certain types can be extended to cover your luggage as well, loss of luggage. And various aspects, it's just good when you're far from home to have that cover. Because you may not find that neighbor nearby.
So I'll tell you, I don't know, I'm going to try and shorten this story. My first trip to Europe, my daughter was 2 months old, and I was traveling from Ireland to Zambia. And we're on the plane, and I hear the pilot say, "This is your captain speaking. Do we have a doctor on board?" The first thing I thought about was, this scene is exactly from the movies. There must be a terrorist here. He shot the pilot in the head and we are going down. And, people running and whatnot. And next thing, we were landing. somewhere in Crete, some island off the island.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, so if we're landing, maybe they'll, I just had these selfish reasons as to why we should actually spend the night where we are landing. Within 20 minutes, we had landed.
Right.
I was looking outside the window and there was ambulances coming to the airplane.
Oh, wow.
There was ambulances coming to the airplane. As we eventually found out, somebody in the first class, obviously, because that doesn't happen in economy, had eaten a cashew nut and they're allergic to peanuts. And this man was basically gone.
Ooh,
They had used
serious
all
allergy.
those things and whatnot. But anyway, we ended up 5 hours on the runway, and by the time we were getting to Zimbabwe, just before we came back to Zambia,
Right.
the pilot actually gave us some good news that the
Right.
passenger was okay.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was saying, if I did not have insurance, because obviously that wasn't going to be the service I was going to get in a foreign country.
Right.
But it's experiences like that that make you realize, even if it's just a cost of a 2,000 kwacha extra
It's
for
worth it.
that trip, if anything happens, you're
Yes.
covered.
Yes.
You are covered maybe for a service that would have cost you maybe even a 50,000 kwacha. And to anybody listening out there, you do not have to wait until an unfortunate event happens for you to really think around getting insurance. How do we ensure that these insurance products become an overall part of our financial planning? What is your word to the people out there listening?
The first thing I would say is budgeting.
Budgeting.
It's important that as people make their budgets, insurance must be there. The same way there is electricity, there is water, there is every essential thing. People need to include insurance as something to put on the budget. It's like the principle of savings. They say that you must save before you spend. You get whatever money from business or salary, you save first, then you spend. If you tell yourself, I'll spend first and what remains will be for savings, that plan will not work. So it's the same with insurance. Someone must commit to plan, to say that I will intermittently need this much money for my insurance payments because I want to be covered. Many times you find that people who make budgets for their workplaces will never make a personal budget.
I don't understand what you mean by people who make budgets for workplaces.
You find in the workplace, you're told for your department,
Oh.
we want your budget for the year.
For the year.
How much is needed for this, that, or the other? But you find we fail to transfer those skills to our personal lives.
Personal lives, yeah.
To say, have I sat down to say, I have this much today? Which things are urgent, which things are necessary, which things are only if I can manage, but I can live without them. So really, we need to look at our personal budgeting and make insurance a priority. That's the first thing I would say. The budgeting, the planning, it's very important. Decide that this is something I need and I will put it in my plan. I always make sure there's money set aside for that task. Another thing I would say is that let's also avoid diverting our money to causes which don't add value. For instance, pyramid schemes, it's unfortunate they promise so much, but really, especially if you're caught at the end of it, you have just thrown away money. So really, we need to be very careful with our planning, be very careful with the financial services we look for. Because not everything is genuine, not everything is helpful. And things like pyramid schemes, really, it is like throwing money away.
That's something that I've just thought about as you're speaking. We haven't spoken about life insurance, eh?
We haven't.
Can you just delve into that a little bit? Why life insurance and how does it work for anybody listening out there?
There are different types of life insurance. For some, you can benefit in your lifetime, especially those, yes. Some are designed for retirement, for instance. So it'll have a maturity date when you'll be able to benefit. Others are designed strictly for at the demise of the insured person, that the family should receive certain benefits. So, for example, there are some policies, group life, for instance, where some companies can cover their staff. And if one passes away, depending on the terms, you'll find the surviving family get maybe ×2 the annual salary of this person.
Okay.
×2 or 3 or 4, depending on the policy.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been the W conversation around insurance and financial planning. Our guest today was Kambole Chituo, the manager for consumer education and risk at the Insurance Association of Zambia. And key takeouts from this conversation for me has really been about budgeting. If I had to take away one thing, it was, and I think I could be one of those culprits.
Right.
Usually we will plan, even, I won't say we don't take our budgeting skills from the office back home, but we'll more likely plan for the month. Like my salary is here now and this is how I'm going to distribute it. But probably we're not going to sit down at the end of the year. Well, it's possible some people do it, but I'm being honest, planning as you go. So my key takeaway from here is plan for the long term. For those of you out there, you need a family protection plan, Access Bank Zambia is here for you. You need hospital cover. In the unfortunate case of illness and you're admitted to hospital, we have the hospital cashback. You need to insure your car. Please walk in. We have a general insurance policy you can pick up. Do you need cover for your business, your household property, your house itself? We have this for you. You don't have to wait until an unfortunate event happens for you to take on insurance. Insurance is just as important as any other aspect of our financial planning. So be sure to check that you have insurance on your budget list for the next coming month. Remember, this is Access Bank Zambia's banking proposition for women, and this has been the W Conversations. My name is Kalumbu. Thank you for watching.